click the like button on the YouTube video. That's simple.
Yes, but you don't need to say it like a robot. Say it like you'd say to your friend or something. Like,
click the like button on the video. I mean, what? Click the like button on the YouTube video. No, you don't say YouTube? I mean, okay.
All right, this is the episode that changed television forever, The Sopranos.
The episode that changed television forever? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
The Sopranos has no shortage of great episodes. Episodes like Whitecaps, Made in America, and who could forget Pine Barrens?
Pine Barrens.
You're not gonna believe this. He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator. His house looked like shit.
But there's one episode that stands out above the rest. One episode that changed the course of television history and set us up for the golden age of television we live in today. That episode is College. On first glance, the 5th episode of the first season might not stand
Bro, he was so young here. It's fucking crazy. He was
out
like
as
38
anything
years old,
special,
bro.
especially if you grew up with shows like Dexter,
And
Mad
he was much thinner.
Men, Boardwalk Empire, and Breaking Bad. But without this episode of The Sopranos, characters like Walter White or Dexter Morgan might never have been allowed to exist. So let's take a look at the episode that ushered in the era of the...
I mean, that is true. If you think about Breaking Bad, if he didn't take care of that guy in the basement, that whole show wouldn't have happened.
Every one of those, from Breaking Bad, Mad Men, all of those, they all say that every actor and producer and they all say the same thing. The Sopranos was the one. The only thing I'm going to tell you is this, though. Here's the only thing, and Sopranos, after watching all these shows, Sopranos is my favorite. Breaking Bad's number 2. But I'm going to tell you this right now. One of the reasons why I love Breaking Bad so much, there's many. One of the reasons is, and we've talked about this at length, but when you start The Sopranos, Tony Soprano is Tony Soprano. When you start Breaking Bad, bro, Walter White is a pathetic, just miserable, depressed, fucking biology teacher whose life is shit. And he becomes fucking Heisenberg, dude.
Yeah.
That is the craziest shit to what he became. Tony Soprano was always Tony Soprano.
I think for me, that's what gives the edge to Breaking Bad.
Listen, I have no...
I have Breaking Bad 1.
I know, obviously. But I'm just saying, if someone says Breaking Bad 1, Sopranos 2, like, I 100%
it's
get that.
respectable
But I'm going to
either
tell
way.
you this, too, though. And I know maybe there's a lot of younger people out here that never really got into it and never saw it. This show, Mad Men, holy fuck.
That's actually a show I've never watched.
Oh, my God, dude.
I've never watched it.
I've
tried starting it multiple times. I can never start it.
The thing is, the show takes place over 10 years. It starts in 1960 and ends in 1970. And I mean, bro, when I tell you the culture, it's dead on. Like, you know, like the old thing about, like, in the office, the secretaries, you know, chasing them around the desk and everybody smoking and drinking in the office. That shit was real. That really happened. And bro, I caught some of that early on when I first started working.
Yeah.
Like in the early 90s, people were still doing that shit. You were drinking booze and smoking in the office.
That's fire.
Anti-hero.
Oh.
This is College. The episode opens with Tony taking Meadow on a trip to visit 3 colleges in Maine she's thinking of attending. On the car ride, she abruptly asks if he's in the mafia.
Am I in the what?
Though taken aback, he admits that some of his money comes from illegal activities. Meadow appreciates his honesty. Later, at a gas station, Tony thinks he sees 𝗟𝗍𝗄 Petrullio, a made guy from New Jersey who became a federal informant. Though Tony tries to follow him, he can't with Meadow in the car and ends up losing him. He manages to get his license plate though, and has Christopher run the plates for him. Meanwhile, Carmela is at home recovering from the flu. While AJ is out at a friend's house, she's visited by Father Phil. While they have dinner and wine together, Melfi calls the house to cancel her appointment with Tony. Carmela assumes that Tony is having an affair with her since he lied about his therapist being a woman. Back in Maine, Tony and Meadow are having dinner. During the meal, she admits to Tony that she was doing drugs before. When he asks her why she would tell him this, she says it was because he was honest with her about the mafia. However, when Tony gets Phoebe's address from Chris, he leaves Meadow with some college girls at the restaurant so that he can track Phoebe down. He finds Phoebe at his house, but can't do anything since his family is with him. However, Phoebe notices that something is off and begins his own investigation into who's looking for him. He eventually discovers the motel where Tony and Meadow are staying at and waits for them in ambush. Meanwhile, Carmela and Father Phil continue to drink and get close. Being upset about her life with Tony, she and Father Phil do confession, and he offers her communion.
Was Father Phil like was he trying to like? I never.
Nah, it was
quite
a weird.
got it. Was he really trying to?
That was a weird dynamic. I don't know that he was, that it was ever would have been a sexual thing. I think he just was. He just got way too close, and like even Tony made like nasty comments about the guy. Like,
I mean, dude, you don't
Yeah.
act like this.
Exactly.
But then you're like, oh no, but like I'm a priest, like I can do that. Like, you're a grown man.
Things get intimate. She gets a call from AJ telling her that he's going to be staying at his friend's house and that they will be alone together all night. Drunk off communion wine, they're about to kiss when Father Phil gets sick and rushes to the bathroom to puke. Tony brings the drunk Meadow back to the hotel. Phoebe sees them, but is unable to take the shot because of a couple nearby. The next morning, Tony drops Meadow off at the next college and goes off on his own. Phoebe tries to hire some junkies to kill Tony for him, but they refuse and leave. Phoebe hears a noise outside and goes to investigate. When he does, Tony ambushes him and wraps a cord around his neck. Though Phoebe begs for mercy and says that he could have killed Tony the previous night, Tony strangles him to death anyway. When he's done, he sees a flock of ducks flying away. In the car ride back home, Meadow notices a cut on Tony's hand and mud on his shoes. She asks him about it, citing their newfound honesty with each other. However, she can tell that he's lying to her and decides to stop asking questions. Back at home, Carmela tells Tony that Father Phil stayed the night. Though he is indignant at the thought of her spending the night alone with another man, Carmela reveals that she knows about his female therapist, and as the episode ends, Tony is left the one trying to explain. From that summary alone, this episode might not seem like anything special. Plot-wise, the episode has almost nothing to do with the overarching story of the season, and features only a fraction of the cast. But the standalone nature of this episode is exactly why it's the favorite of creator David Chase.
For me, the most successful episode of the show is the one called College. The one where he takes his daughter.
Yes.
Okay.
And recognizes
right.
a squealer.
To me, that's a film noir in and of itself. Mm-hmm. That could have been a low-budget movie from the 40s or something like that. It has nothing to do with anything that happened beforehand, and it has nothing to do with anything that happened later.
Right.
It's two very discrete stories. A gangster takes his daughter to college, has to kill a rat while his wife almost sleeps with a priest. To me, that was the ultimate Soprano episode. Mm-hmm. And that has nothing to do with anything that came before or after.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to see why he preferred standalone episodes like this. It allowed him to focus on the characters and their development more than just the plot. There's a lot of great symbolism in this episode that I don't think they would have had time for if they were busy writing C and D plots for the story. I love the development between Tony and Meadow. For once, he has opened up to her and been honest, and she returns by showing more trust and acceptance of him. However, when he goes back to lying to her, we can see that it's broken their relationship. They would never again be as close as they were throughout the rest of the series.
Damn.
This is symbolized perfectly when Tony sees the school of ducks flying away after he kills Phoebe. In the pilot, Tony has a panic attack when the ducks leave his pool, symbolizing his fear of losing his family.
When the ducks gave birth to those babies, they became a family.
You're right. That's the link. A connection. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my family. Like I lost the ducks.
Because he chooses to pursue vengeance and the mob code over honesty with his daughter, he loses his relationship with her. This is also symbolized in the Hawthorne quote he sees at the last college, which foreshadows a conflict between his mob life. Hawthorne quote.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah.
He sees at the last college, which foreshadows a conflict between his mob life and his home life that Tony would deal with throughout the series. This episode was also well received by critics. 𝗍𝗍𝗪𝐼co won her first Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama for her role in this episode. And David Chase and writer James Manos Jr. both won an Emmy for Outstanding Writing. However, there was some pushback against this episode. HBO was originally against Tony murdering the rat. They told David Chase that he'd created one of the most compelling characters in television history, and that he was throwing it all away in one episode.
And then we had, one was about whether Tony should kill the guy in the 5th episode of the first season. The rat up in Maine, wherever he was. And Chris Albrecht didn't want, he said, you have 4 episodes there, you've created one of the most compelling protagonists in American television, and you're flushing him down the toilet by having him kill that guy.
Eventually, they allowed him to show the murder, but forced him to add a scene that showed 𝗍𝗑 was dealing drugs, which apparently meant it was okay to kill him. To be fair, this was uncharted waters for a television show. This was one of the first major depictions of violence from a TV protagonist. There had been other shows that had the main character kill people.
That's like kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna get like the main character.
But there's never been. But I mean, let's. You and I have talked about this. I mean, not just on stream. You and I have talked about this. If you take a step back for just a second and go, let's just talk about Tony. He was a killer. He cheats on his wife. He's racist. He's a thief. He's whatever. He's all these things. He's all these really bad things. But you're rooting for him, and you have to ask yourself.
And you like Tony.
And you have to ask yourself the question why. There's something there. Now, a lot of the history of gangster movies, the lore, and what you always hear is, well, the average guy walking around has to follow these rules. That's why throughout history, people are fascinated by mobsters, because they're outlaws. They do whatever they want, and they don't worry about the consequences. But the average guy has to get up, pay his taxes, go to work, wife, kids, whatever. And that's why that gangster life is so appealing. But when you look at Tony, but there's something else there. There's something else going on with him, that he's likable, but he's all these things. He's a racist. He's a murderer. He cheats on his wife. Like, all of these things, but you still like him. It's
brilliant.
It's very fascinating.
But not like this. This was brutal. They showed Tony strangling him to death with his bare hands right in front of the camera, and there was no justification such as self-defense. The man was not a direct threat to Tony until he started pursuing him. The decision to show such an act, and the fact that audiences accepted it, had a profound effect on television. It cemented the idea that a main character of a show could be morally complicated, even straight up evil in some cases, and still be compelling. This episode would usher in the so-called golden age of television we live in now, an era defined by the anti-hero protagonist. Some of these shows can even be traced directly to The Sopranos.
This is another show I never watched.
This will blow your fucking mind.
Any show that someone goes, oh, but I didn't like the ending, I didn't like the last season.
No.
When I hear that, it makes me not want to watch it.
No. Well, listen to me. Go back.
That's why I never watched Game of Thrones.
First of all, you don't even know what you're talking about.
People said they hated it.
No, the ending was fine.
I know you said the ending was
fine. Go back. Well, did I love the end of The Sopranos? Did I love it? No, I didn't love it. I understand it. I understand what he did, but do I love it? No, I don't.
That's a good point. I don't love the ending.
That's a good point. I don't love the ending. I mean, what the fuck you want me to tell you?
No,
I don't love the ending. I understand I understand what he was trying to do. I understand what he was trying to do. I don't like.
How would you have liked it to end? This is a good question. How would you have liked to seen it play out? How else could someone like Tony Soprano, his life, how else could it wind up? Like,
well, I would have liked to see Tony win.
How could you win?
Him
You've made too many enemies.
No, him wipe everybody out. Like, and he's like Michael Corleone at the end. He's the last one standing. I would have liked that. That would have been. And listen, and I'm going to tell you right now.
So how does that end though? Because then he's still alive.
He's still alive.
So how does it end?
He take out Phil Leotardo. He took out all those other guys, and he's still the boss. He's still alive. I would have liked that. And Stallone, and we've talked about this too. Stallone has a rule with his movies, except with the exception of one from like 1978. It was called Fist, where the character gets killed. Stallone, when he writes his shit, the hero never dies. Never dies. And I like that. And he likes it, and that's why it works. The hero doesn't die. So
it is interesting to think. But I've seen, dude, when I first saw the ending, dude, I watch all these breakdowns. I want people's opinions, whatever. All that I've seen over and over was people saying, like, even if he did win, like you're saying, quote unquote, he's the last one saying, he made so many enemies. There's so many random people, so many people could have wanted to kill Tony.
The issue all started. The issue really started when cousin Tony killed Phil's brother.
Yeah. Like, you could have a random guy's cousin be like, oh, that's the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could have been anyone who wanted to kill him.
What wound up happening was all of New York turned on Tony.
Yeah.
They all turned on him.
Yeah.
And basically what it came down to was your cousin randomly killed Phil's brother. And if you listen to that one episode where they play that really fucked up song, it's this really fucked up British song. I used to listen to it all the time, and then I had to stop listening to it because it was making me crazy. He's sitting in the bar, and he's sitting with Butchie. And he said, we took shit from the Metagons from the time we came over. The name was, and they shortened it to Leotardo, right? And so the name was fucked up. It was what they did, they fucked up his name when he came over. The family came over. So it was Leotardo, which is the most ridiculous name. So what wound up happening was he goes, it's in my nature. He goes, no more, Butchie, no more. And what he committed to is Tony's cousin, and he's not going to turn him over. We're going to kill all. And he goes, we're going to decapitate and just do business with whoever's left. And that's why that guy Butchie was like, you mean take out a whole crime family? The whole fucking family? That was it. And mine was, I would have loved to see, because they killed Phil. Phil got killed. But I would have loved to see Tony win, and obviously, but that didn't happen. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he did live.
Nah, he got killed.
Yeah, he got killed.
He got.
They whacked him right out.
That guy with the members only jacket.
They whacked him out. They whacked him out in Halston's. I sat in that booth. I had onion rings in that booth. It was very cool. It's very cool.
James Manos Jr., who wrote this episode, went on to create Dexter, a show about a literal serial killer.
Really?
Series writers Matt Weiner and Terry Winter would go on to create Mad Men and Boardwalk Empire, respectively.
Really?
Bro, you gotta watch this.
Are you serious?
You gotta watch Dexter. You gotta watch Mad Men. Bro, when I
had both shows about more.
When I had my foot surgery.
But these guys were linked to the Sopranos.
Yes,
who wrote these shows.
yes, of course, because that was David Chase started this whole thing. Bro, when I had my foot surgery and I was fucking laid up, very good friend of mine was like, you
watch Mad Men, right?
I gotta send you some shows. He goes, the number one show you have to watch is Mad Men. I'm like, yeah. He goes, no.
You fucked with it,
bro. I watched I watched 7 years in 3 weeks.
You know what? You know what I'm really upset about that you've never. I rarely give suggestions. I said Better Call Saul. You're like, yeah. You still never seen it.
Never seen it.
Better Call Saul. People say it's better than Breaking Bad.
I've never seen Better Call Saul.
People say that.
I've seen episodes. Like, I'm randomly watching something.
Yeah.
I've never watched.
I'll tell you this. Better Call Saul, the first like season or two, maybe 3, because I think there's 5 seasons. I think it's the same as Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
First 2, whatever, is not as dark as the later seasons. The later seasons become literal Breaking Bad episodes.
Yeah.
Which
I gotta listen. Listen to me.
Fuck.
I know you've been after me for years to do
I
this.
for years said, dude, watch Better Call Saul.
And I'll tell you what's funny. What's his name? What's the actor's name? Odenkirk.
Yeah, Bob
Odenkirk. So the connection. So there's a movie that he did called Nobody. We've discussed this.
Yeah.
The same producers as John Wick, and it's that same thing where you have this guy who's now he's a schlub. He's a schlub. He's living that life in the suburbs. His wife gives him shit. His kids are disrespectful.
Nobody's a good movie.
Blah, blah, blah. In one night, it was funny because I was with Mom, and I was like, "Do you ever see John Wick?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, we're going to watch John Wick." It was a Saturday night. We're going to watch like a double feature. We're going to watch John Wick, and we're going to watch this movie, Nobody, and there's a connection because it's just like the same producers.
Yeah.
Bro, Nobody Part 2 is coming out. They made a Part 2.
Yeah.
By the way,
the plot of that one is a little.
What? You didn't like it?
The plot of the second one.
No, I don't know about the second one. You
saw the trailer?
You didn't like the first one?
No, I liked the first one. The plot of the second one looks a little. I hope it's good.
I know listen. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I'm not a real big fan of the John Wick movies. I like the first one.
I need to watch Dexter and Mad Men.
It gets to you just
and you need to watch Better Call Saul.
You just reminded me of something. I want to say this to everyone as well. So and when it happened, I posted something about it. But so June 20th, Jaws turned 50, and when I was a kid, my dad took me to see Jaws. Bro, August 29th or thereabouts, it's being re-released in fucking IMAX, Dolby Sound, whatever.
When is it?
They're re-releasing it at the end of August. It's going to be in the theaters for a week.
I want to see that
I
shit.
am going.
IMAX, bro.
I'm going to get some guys, and we're all going. But I know I got some good friends of mine that were maniac with the whole thing. Same thing with yours, because we were kids when this came out.
We got to go to the big IMAX, not the regular IMAX.
We're going to go see this, and they clean it up so good, the way they clean it up.
Yeah.
We're going to go see Jaws, and I highly recommend to everybody, I know there's a lot of young people out here that haven't seen Jaws. When this shit comes out at the end of the summer, go to the fucking movies, take your parents, because they probably saw it when they were whatever. Go see this goddamn movie. It's the IMAX bullshit, whatever they do with all this stuff. Go see Jaws. It'll change your life. It'll scare you. You probably won't go back into the ocean, but it's all right.
So I have a Jaws question for you. How, and I want to see if anyone knows this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Jaws is mid. Right? I will tell you right. I will tell you right now. I can tell what kind of person you are just by you saying Jaws is mid.
Okay.
I can tell what kind of person you are.
In the entire movie, it's the first Jaws movie.
The first one, of course.
Okay.
All the other ones were trash, by the way.
How much screen time does Jaws get?
Probably. Hold on.
This is a trivia question.
Hold on.
Tough.
And you're not gonna give me like A, B, C, or D. You're just gonna.
I'll give you A, B, C, or D.
Give me A, B, C, or D.
All right. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes. 11 minutes. 12 minutes.
Hold on. 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Hold on. Don't say anything.
4 minutes.
Don't say anything. This is why, when you talk about genius and brilliance.
But I have a second part to this.
Go ahead.
At what point in the movie, however many minutes, does the shark appear?
Give me the options.
I can't. Like I can't make up random. All right, I'll make.
No. No, you don't have to. I'll tell you. 1 hour.
1:20.
There you go.
So you go, dude, an hour and 20 minutes. They would never do this today, bro.
Oh, that movie would never get made.
They would never, dude. You know what I recently did? I watched all the Jurassic Parks. Okay? The reason why Jurassic Park, the original, is the best, dude, you don't see the fucking T-Rex for like an hour into the movie.
That's why.
And who directed that movie?
Spielberg.
Spielberg directed
There's
both
something
movies.
about that's like, even with some of these really bad horror movies, you're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? You hear a noise, boom. There's a scene very early in the movie, very early in the movie. A boy gets killed on a raft, right? Now, very early in the movie, a boy gets killed on the raft. Originally, that was the first time they were going to show you the shark.
Yeah.
They viewed it, they're like, we can't show this. It's too violent, and you're gonna see the entire shark too early in the movie. They have these clips that they never showed. Go to YouTube. I want you to see this. It's so brutal.
I'll pull it up.
Pull it up. They killed the Kittner. His name is Kittner is the boy's last name.
Let's finish this video.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's finish
We gotta go. We gotta go there. We gotta go there.
Really complicated men. Without The Sopranos, these shows couldn't have existed.
If you hadn't been on The Sopranos as a writer working with David, how different do you think?
Oh, Mad Men would have been a piece of shit. I'm pretty sure. It would have been different.
Even shows that can't be traced directly to The Sopranos, such as Breaking Bad, still owe their existence to the zeitgeist the show created for television.
Oh my God.
Breaking Bad is the exact same vibes as The Sopranos. It's the same vibes.
No, because 1 second you're laughing your ass off.
Well, you see family, and then you see the criminal side. You see both.
Yeah.
That have been made if we didn't have The Sopranos?
I don't think so. I think what they were able to, David Chase was able to do in creating a character like Tony Soprano was certainly paving the way to allow the space for someone like Walter White to exist. Yeah, it was groundbreaking.
I hope you found this video insightful
This video was excellent. I don't know who this guy is.
entertaining.
This is
Everyone
excellent.
knows just what an incredible
Shout out to
show
this
The
guy,
Sopranos
Kino.
was, but as a fan, it's amazing to see just how
that's a
influential the series
fantastic-
was on all of
fantastic.
television. And I wanted to share it with all of you. If you liked the video, let me know in the comments down below.
If you like this video, like it on YouTube and subscribe, please.
Nice.